Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Laura, this is Culture Nonsense, and today we're going to be doing something slightly different. The Elizabeth Holmes trial is still continuing, but in the past couple days in court, we've gotten a lot of documents and exhibits from the, defense and prosecution that I thought were pretty interesting, and we went over some of them in my previous videos, like a couple text messages from Sunny and Elizabeth, but there were a few of them that I thought were pretty interesting that deserved a little bit of a deeper dive into, as well as a couple other reports that we found out that aren't directly related to what's been going on in the courtroom. So I wanted to make a video to dedicate a little bit of time to these things that I wanted to pick out in other videos, but just didn't have the time to do. Before we get started, I did want to touch on the fact that this trial is wrapping up relatively soon. We should have a decision from the jury in the next couple weeks. And with that being said, I believe Sunny's case is set to start jury selection on January 11th. So I put a poll out a couple days ago in my community tab, just so you guys could let me know your thoughts if you would like me to cover Sunny's trial as well, or if you're not that interested in it. I personally think it'll be interesting to see kind of what angle they come at him from, especially considering through this trial, it seems like Elizabeth was the ultimate decision maker for everything. First of all, back over Thanksgiving, Elizabeth's lawyers filed a motion to admit prior testimony from Sunny Balwani, and people thought that this might be to try to nail him for certain things he'd said in these SEC testimonies, especially about building financial models. And on December 2nd, we got news from Judge Davila that he denied this motion, and he said it is not a crime to create a financial model. So I guess he does not want to play into whatever the defense is trying to do here. Probably, like I said, they were trying to blame Sunny for more things. Something else we learned that is a little bit weird is that apparently Elizabeth has been contacting her former sorority sisters at Stanford and asking them to lend public support to her. After dropping out of college so young, I was actually even surprised that she still had contact with some of these people. Her sorority was Kappa Alpha Theta, and not all of these friends, obviously, who she extended this invitation to, accepted to show up at court. One of these people said off the record that it was because they were pretty uncomfortable with the request. However, some people did accept, and Elizabeth has had a slowly growing entourage as she's been on the defense, and some of these people included are those sorority sisters or friends from college. One of the reasons why she could be doing this is because it's always good to show the jury you have a lot of support from family members, friends, everything like that. It makes you more sympathetic overall to see people supporting you. Something that is a little bit weird though is that a lot of the friends outside of the courthouse who were asked to identify themselves have not. Well, I guess it's not weird if they don't want media coverage and people really, digging into their lives. But on the other hand, it makes me wonder how much support they're actually lending towards Elizabeth if they're trying to stay anonymous. There was actually a quote from another former friend of Elizabeth's who apparently used to work with her at Theranos and did not want to be identified out of fear of retaliation. And she said, "I think she's probably feeling like, I will beat this. She has a lot of optimism and a little bit of woe is me. I don't think there's guilt based on my conversations with her." And this, I think, is probably true knowing what we know about Elizabeth. She's portrayed a little bit of a guilty side on the stand, but at the same time, there are a lot of things that she says that make it seem like she doesn't think she did any wrongdoing, or she reluctantly admits to having made a mistake. But I think all of the remorse that she's showing is probably played up a little bit from reports to people inside her inner circle. Some reports we've gotten recently from people who are supposedly inside her inner circle say that she's actually feeling pretty confident, and people think this is why she took the stand in her own defense, because she believed that she could get herself off doing this. Another former friend said, "She has an arrogance of nobody can do as good a job as I can." Basically why she's testifying. This person said that, "My suspicion is she didn't intend to testify, but after watching the trial unfold, she decided she's best suited to defend herself." In my last video, I mentioned the Atherton house in California that Sunny and Elizabeth bought with their LLC, and the house is actually for sale again, and it's on sale for $16.5 million this time. I believe they bought it probably a little bit undervalued because you can see on Zillow, this public sales information, that they tried to sell it for a couple $1,000,000 more and no one was biting and the price dropped a couple of times. Then they tried to rent it. And then a couple of years later, that's when Elizabeth and Sonny bought it. And unfortunately for them, after all of their Theranos troubles, they sold the house in 2018 and they sold it for more than $1,000,000 less than what they bought it for. So in addition to the financials kind of crumbling around Theranos, they had to sell the house at a loss as well. And speaking of this house, because it is on sale, we can see it on Zillow. So you can see a lot of pictures. It is a very beautiful house, in my opinion. It is huge. There's an outdoor porch area, a great backyard, a pool, like I mentioned. One of my hobbies is going and looking at houses on Zillow for fun, and all of the pictures of this house were pretty fun to look at. Not gonna lie. It was really weird imagining Sonny and Elizabeth living in this house. I believe it was built in the 1930s. Gotta love those exposed wood beams. There's, fireplaces in the bedrooms. It's 5 bedrooms, 7 baths. I don't know why they needed that much space, just the 2 of them. The house even has a pool house as well, so it's really just got it all. I think there's even a gated entry into it. So it was just a little bit fascinating to take a look at the house that they used to live in. Now, back to some of these messages between the 2 of them. In some of my previous videos, when we've talked about the overly lovey, sappy, honestly, in my opinion, super cringy text messages between the 2 of them, it just seems like it's almost an overkill of feeling, especially from Sonny's side. All of his proclamations of love are so flowery and so over the top, and it is very odd to me because some of these come from people during the time period when they'd been in a relationship between like 8 to 11 years at this point. And just to be like, I can't breathe without you in the room. I'm missing you every minute of the day. You are a goddess. You are my life. It's crazy. I don't think I could deal with a person who talked to me like that or wanted to know, like be with me every second of the day or know where I was or what I was doing. Just seems very suffocating, but I think there was maybe a little bit of codependency between them at some points. Anyway, we got some Skype messages between them as well. I'll put this on the screen. So this one says, "Through Skype we are together, can't be apart from you even for a few hours. I know, it's amazing. I know, ultimate blessing, ultimate blessing." So this back and forth is like what I was saying. It's just they have to be connected to each other every minute of the day. And it might be because they're in a little bit of this shared delusion together. Here's another one. "You are tiger, I am death, Shiva, you are life, both incomplete without each other, both meaningless without each other. You are my twin soul, both came from one soul, now rejoined, true, Rig Veda." Again, just this grandiose language about the 2 of them and how they complete each other and can't be in this world without each other. It's so odd. Then during this exchange, they touch on the business, and I guess Elizabeth choked up or cried a little bit while reading this in court. "Missing you, this business cannot be built by either you or I alone. That's why the universe brought us together, among other billion reasons. No one but you and I can build this business together. I know, we have to work together on the Rev piece. Without seems like half my energy is gone and the building is an empty shell without you." And then Elizabeth responded with some type of emoji. "I know the feeling. You are the company. We need revenue plus few senior level managers, experienced, even if they only work 11 hours, I guess 5 days a week." It's interesting here that Sonny says that Elizabeth is the company. I think this is what we've gotten from a lot of the testimony. At the end of the day, she was the public face. She was the one who all the decisions were made through. Something else we get here is the exhibit of Tyler's email, or rather the response to Tyler's email that Sonny and Elizabeth went back and forth about. You can see here that there's the original email with Elizabeth's comments. So, it says here, before I get into specifics, let me share with you that had this email come from anyone else in the company, I would have already fired them for this arrogant and insulting attitude. In your case, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt that your intentions are in the right place because of Mr. Schultz. And you can see that Elizabeth deleted that comment, and Mr. Schultz is referring to George Schultz, Tyler's grandfather, who was on the board and a former Secretary of State, and very, very on the side of Elizabeth at this point. And Elizabeth says to make these comments stronger and emphasize what he did first, especially in light of my comment on accuracy below. So not only are they rebuking Tyler for bringing up possible issues in the lab, but Elizabeth is the one here who is saying, make this rebuke stronger. So then we have the finished email here, and this is what was sent to Tyler. Before I get into specifics, let me share with you that had this email come from anyone else in the company, I would have already held them accountable for the arrogance and patronizing tone and reckless comments. So we can see here that he's included some of the things up top that he's upset about. It says, in your case, I'm giving you the benefit of doubt that your intentions are in the right place, and I'm taking the time to respond, even though your tone in this email all the way through the last paragraph is not that of someone seeking to understand, but rather someone standing at a higher perch of morality and business wisdom. Perhaps this too was not your intent, but this clearly comes across as your mindset. So here we get another email from Elizabeth replying to Sunny, who's sharing her discussion from Daniel Young about Tyler's concerns. And so Daniel Young is laying out this discussion he had with Tyler to address the concerns. And Sunny says, how long did you spend with him? This seems to be an overkill. And Elizabeth says that she agrees with the below. So again, taking an employee's very valid concerns into account is overkill for the two of them. We also again get more messages, and we can see the amount of times that they use HMFR, this Arabic prayer with each other, just HMFR tiger. So many tigers. It's an interesting term of endearment, I guess. A couple of you have made jokes about it in the comments so far, calling me a tigress, which I appreciate. We get another email here with just all caps, HMFR. Again, like, how embarrassing would it be to have your personal stuff with your ex-boyfriend, this cringy, be in the public eye? But, like I said, for someone like Elizabeth Holmes, this is, just a taste of the punishment I think she should get. She was so high and mighty all the time about everything that her company could do that having a little dose of not necessarily humiliation, but just kind of bringing her sky-high ego back down to earth, I think is something she could really do with. Anyway, that's going to be it for me from today. This was just a quick little fun video talking about some of the exhibits I wanted to mention, and I will be back with more trial updates later in the week, probably talking about maybe Monday and Tuesday. I guess we'll see how long testimony is from both of these days. But until then, I hope you guys all have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.